I think as a man, I think you have a imperative to look at the things that are greater than you. And I think that you need to find it in yourself to look at a bigger picture of something that you need to achieve. And I've done this. I've completely done this. It was something that I did later in high school. I was like, okay, there's a lot of stereotypes going on around females, okay? All the boys in high school telling the girls that they need to just make them a sandwich and they need to, stay in the kitchen and all this stuff. And I was like, why are those stereotypes? I didn't understand because I'm in high school, right? So I started doing research and I started learning about like biology and biological tendencies. And I start to understand that men and women have very different chores, very different jobs, right? And I'm not a woman, so I didn't do too much research on a woman at the time. And I realized that as a man, I have an imperative to achieve. I have an absolute imperative to conquer. I have an imperative to provide. I have an imperative to protect. And and by extension, in order for me to do all of that, I need to make money and I need to go to the gym and I need to learn how to fight. Now, I had the learn how to fight, I guess, taken care of. I mean, I've been boxing for 14 years, wrestling for another 14 years, in and out of jiu-jitsu. Like, learning to fight was something that I already enjoyed doing. And so this was something that I had already checked off, but I didn't have any money and I wasn't very strong, okay? Or I guess gym strong. And so with that, I realized, okay, I'm a man and I have these certain things that I need to do. And in order for me to, have a family and be able to protect them and be able to provide for them the things that they need in order to also have a happy life, I need to make an adjustment. And I gave myself an absolute purpose. And this is going to kind of tie into like why I stay consistent on the things that I do, because realistically, a lot of people can look at my life and they can say, okay, well, you have millions of dollars, you have a beautiful woman, you have a beautiful dog, you have a beautiful life, you have nice cars, you have a nice apartment, you have plenty of money. Why continue moving forward? Like, why do you continue working as much as you do? And I think the purpose here is the fact that I identified what my innate purpose is as a man, right? When I look at myself as a man, I understand that I have these imperatives that I need to achieve in order to have a happy, healthy, and God-filled life. So anyway, I think that every single one of you guys needs, man or woman. If you're a woman, you need to look at the things that you need to do. And instead of looking at the things that are stereotypical, you need to look at the things that, women have a role that they need to play. And I'm not telling you that you need to play that role, but I am telling you it is something that you need to at least look into and try to understand, because I didn't ask to get born into a man's body. Women didn't ask to be born into a woman's body, but you play the cards that you're dealt. And you be the best woman that there's ever been, and you be the best man that there's ever been, and you try your absolute ass off every single day, and you work so incredibly hard. But why stay consistent in any of it, right? Like, why stay consistent? I think you ask a lot of people what their big goals are and their ambitions are, and I think majority of them are going to give you a blank face, because I don't think majority of people really know what they're working for. I think you ask somebody in high school, you ask somebody, in college, like, what are you working for? What are you living for? What is your purpose as a man? What is your purpose as a female? What is your purpose as a Zen or whatever you go by? And they don't have a concrete answer for you. You ask me, like, what is your purpose as a man? Why do you stay consistent? Well, it's because I know that I have a beautiful woman and I have a beautiful dog and I want to have beautiful kids. And in order for me to do that, I need to have a degree of stability within my own life to sustain it, right? A beautiful woman's not going to stay with you if you're not a great man. Your kids are not going to be provided for if you don't have money to provide for them. I'm not saying that you need to be rich, but it's something that you need to be aware of. I wouldn't be able to put them in a great place and in a great living safe environment if I didn't have money. And my purpose is to leave a link into the future. And in order to leave a link into the future, I need to either curate a business that's multi-generational, or I need to create enough prodigy that my bloodline continues to live forever. There are certain things that I have to do as a man that to fulfill that purpose. My purpose is to provide people things that are necessary and to protect people and to do the things that only men can really do. And provide that into the world. I have a duty to make the world a better place. And if it's at least 10 people that I can make better, I've done a good job. And I think that that's genuinely an issue when you ask a lot of people what their purpose is, and they just said they have no idea. And so they don't make decisions based off of a purpose. They just make decisions based off of the world and their environment that kind of persuades them. Now, some things that I do to stay consistent is one, you outline the exact purpose that you think is deemed fit or is fits yourself. Okay, like what is your purpose? You understand what your purpose is. And then you honestly rank its importance to you, right? Is it like 1 out of 10 importance? Is it 2 out of 10? Is it 10 out of 10? And then you curate an environment that allows you to stay consistent, right? Let's say you really want to be a man of God, right? Let's say you want to be a very faithful Christian. Going to the strip club every single weekend I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm not saying that there's sinful nature. I don't think that's sinful nature, but I do think that it is going to sooner or later crack the ice on the dome and it's going to break in. I think when you tempt yourself with an environment that's to break your purpose, at some point it's going to break the glass and it's all going to come in. So you need to be very, very, very careful with how you construct your environment in order to stay consistent. Me, for example, you know why I stay consistent, because I have all of these innate values that I feel necessary that I have to achieve regardless of any circumstance that I go through. And so since I have to achieve this, I curate an environment of only being around specific people, only doing specific things, not going to the club. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I'm completely sober, I don't do any drugs, I do nothing besides work on those things. But because my environment allows me to do that, I don't have friends that are idiots that, try to pull me away from things that are important. As a matter of fact, they've all identified exactly what their values and their core tenets that they want to live up to are. So then all they need to actually do is just hit them. Like they just need to do each individual one. And they've all are actively working towards that. And so those are my group of friends. And so it's very easy for me to stay consistent because everybody around me is. Now, I've got to say that it's not always the case where you have somebody around you who is able to help you stay consistent. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to be a lone wolf. But the thing that you need to understand that's very important is you can use the tools at your disposal, and in a controlled manner, you can actually curate an environment that helps you succeed. Like for an example, using social media, when I was not who I am now, and when I definitely wasn't as successful as I am now, I spent a lot of time following people on Twitter that aligned with my values, aligned with my goals, and that were doing the things that I wanted to do, because I didn't have any friends at the time that were these type of figures that I wanted to associate myself with. And so I used very, very controlled scrolling and only followed people, like I said, and I would just watch their content. I wouldn't go to the For You page. I would stay in the following tab, and I would just control my environment so that anytime I would load up social media, at least I was still getting the people that I aspired to be. And then at night before bed, I know this isn't the healthiest thing in the world, like in general, but when you do controlled scrolling, it pre-frames your brain right before bed. You're immediately thinking of the goals and the things that you want to do as soon as you wake up in the morning. As soon as you wake up in the morning, you can easily crack them out and then rinse and repeat. You can control your environment. Anyway, the whole point of this video is I think it's kind of asking yourself, what is your purpose? And everybody's purpose is going to be completely different. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Everybody's purpose is different. I've identified what I think my purpose is, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to agree with it, even if you're a man, right? If you don't feel if anything I just said is completely unrelatable and you don't feel that way and you honestly disagree with a lot of things I say, that's completely fine. I am not telling you need to feel and act and do certain things. I'm saying you need to identify what your purpose is so that you live a life under your own achievement. And so you feel great about yourself and you actually feel proud. When you look in the mirror, you look at the person that's looking back at you and you say, I am proud of who you are and I am proud of who you became and you are my best friend. I think that is such an important feeling that you can have. And if you don't have that feeling, to me, it feels like you're missing something. But if it's not like that for you, then I guess that also makes sense as well. But I do think that it's absolutely so incredibly important. But other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video.